industry is Sip Wine and Beer. They've been a part of this community here in Escondido for the last 6 years, and the owner here is specifically focused on wine from women and BIPOC winemakers and trying to change the wine tasting experience.
So the wine and beer space is underrepresented when it comes to women and people of color. As someone who drinks a lot of wine and beer, you start to realize how it brings community together. You talk about different topics when you're having wine and beer. You figure out things that you didn't know. You can have great conversations. It allows people to let loose. But the most important thing is that people who like to consume wine and craft beer don't have to have this pretentious attitude behind it. And so, you know, sometimes we have this connotation that wine is only consumed by people who make a certain amount of money. You have to have your pinky up and you're supposed to know what to taste and smell when you're drinking wine, and that's just simply not the case. So I created a space where people can learn how to do that, or just come in and enjoy wine and beer without feeling the pressures of knowing the education or the nuances behind it.
How important was it for you to make sure that all the bottles you have here have sort of a story, or are from someone that, as you mentioned, is a person of color that's in the industry? How is that everything you have here at Under the Skinny is sort of has that story, that mission, right?
Yeah, over 75% of the wine and beer here is made by women or people of color in the industry, and it's important to share that story because the pay or the cost of entry in the wine and beer space is extremely expensive, not just from a currency, but just resources, networking. It is a white male-dominated industry, both wine and beer, and so if you are a woman or you are someone of color who's been able to figure out how to get into that industry, pave the way, create your own brand, make a name for yourself, put everything on the line, to create a phenomenal brand, your story should be told. And so that's what I set out to do. And part of it too is people would come in here and not believe that I was the owner, because you don't see a lot of black women owning wine bars or black women owning brands in this space. So it was more of, okay, well, people want to know what my story is when I'm here, so I need to just make sure that I'm also sharing the stories of the brands that I carry as well.
Fun part, the wine part.
One of the things that I really like to do is swirl it because it releases.
You got a nice swirl going.
Yes.
Trying to make a mess.
I'm a seasoned swirler.
Yeah, you are. I need some help.
Some of my favorite winemakers, I always talk about them because they're dear friends and phenomenal winemakers, but Means to Dreams, which is created by Tara Gomez and Mireya Taribu, who is the only Native American woman winemaker in the country. Le Fête du Rosé, created by Danae Burston, who is a brother who has spent 20 plus years in the champagne industry and decided to make rosé affordable for everyone. So his rosé is super easy to drink. It's from France. I call him the bougie man of rosé, but in a great way.
Yeah.
So he's making rosé accessible for everybody because generally it's marketed to people who don't look like us. We have the Rideau Viognier, and Iris Rideau is the first black woman to own a winery in the United States. She has since sold her winery, but she created Rideau Vineyards up in Solvang, and I have her wine here for a limited time. I appreciate the overwhelming support because it's not just about supporting Sip Wine and Beer, it's about supporting equity in an industry that there is no equity. It's about being intentional, and when you come here, you know that you're coming to support women and BIPOC innovators in this industry. You're coming to see who's released something new. You're stopping by for an event because you've seen someone on Netflix or on Instagram, and now they're here to share their story and connect with everyone. So I'm fortunate that I've been able to bring a platform to life that supports the community in terms of entrepreneurship for women everywhere.
Well, cheers to that.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.